Okay, in today's video, I want to talk about what is a full-blown approval versus a pre-approval and how this can help buyers compete in this hot seller's market. So this is Sean Price with eXp Realty, and this is a strategy that we're using with buyers to really help position them in a stronger position, even when they have to use financing for the purchase of a home. So hopefully you'll find this helpful as well. So basically, there's a pre-approval is it's a document from a lender that basically says that they took the preliminary information from a buyer, and based on the tax returns, assets, so on and so forth, based on what they've seen from the buyer, what documents they've seen to prove that the buyer has the income and assets that they're stating they have, that buyer should be able to qualify for a certain amount on a loan. So that's a pre-approval. A full approval is when the lender goes ahead and fully underwrites the documents, fully underwrites the buyer. And what that means is they get all the documents they need, and then there's always extra layers of documents that are needed to fully approve a buyer. And when you're purchasing a home, there are two things that are needed. You need the property to be approved, and you need the buyer to be approved. The buyer gets approved by going through this underwriting process and making sure that all of the income and assets are there. If there's any deeper documents that are needed by the bank, the underwriting department, they can go ahead and get those. And this is usually the process that takes the most amount, or takes a little bit of time during the process of contract. So when a buyer can go ahead and get fully pre-approved, then it gives them two things that they can do. Number one, they can shorten up the time frame to settlement, because when a cash offer comes in, I'm gonna go back for a little bit, when you're competing against a cash offer, that cash offer is going to be able to, number one, they can skip all of the financing requirements because they don't have a lender, they're just paying cash. So the only thing that they have to do is allow time for the title research to be done to make sure that the property can be sold and that the title can become clean. They may want to do an appraisal, but most cash buyers don't do appraisals. So those are the advantages that a cash buyer has. Usually no appraisal, very quick settlement, and there's no finance contingency because they have the cash to do it. So a financed individual can position themselves better by getting this pre-approval, because they can actually go ahead and waive their finance contingency because they already know that they are approved for the loan. So they can waive the finance contingency. They can make the decision on whether or not they want to waive the appraisal contingency depending on the property, and you get with your realtor and you can make that decision for yourself, but you can also shorten up the time frame of settlement. So two of the three benefits to being a cash buyer can be automatically removed when you have a full approval, because you are able to shorten up settlement and you're able to go without a finance contingency. The only individual, or the only remaining part, is the appraisal contingency. And again, you can decide that on a property by property basis. The other thing is the property that has to be approved. But as long as you're putting an offer in on a property that is in functional condition, that is there's no hazards to the property, it's habitable, usually the property is not an issue, unless you're using a VA or an FHA loan, in which case those lenders do require certain requirements of properties, be it a standalone single family, a townhouse, or a condo. So that's another little thing, that's another little caveat. But if you're using conventional financing and you get that full pre-approval, or you get that full approval, then the benefits are you can shorten up that settlement date, you can waive the financing contingency because you already know that you are qualified, and that puts you in a much stronger position. If you're not battling a cash offer, then it gives you great positioning against other financed buyers, because they're not going to be able to make these same options. Okay, I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to further discuss the strategy, please let me know.